Welcome to Bring Your Brilliance. Are you ready to find and amplify your voice? Looking to be inspired by those who are already out there making it happen? Listen in as we shine a light on those who bring their full, authentic selves to do what they love, make no apologies, and don't try to fit into other people's boxes. With your host, Carla Taylor, who, after years of being inspired by the brilliantly shining people she was meeting, decided others need to hear these stories too.
Hello and welcome to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show and podcast. I am your host, Carla Taylor, and we are so grateful to the Inspired Choices Network for all of their wonderful love and support. And please share the love and share the shows and help everyone to hear all of the awesomeness that is here, both with my show as well as a lot of the other ones on here. If you haven't checked them out, please do so. But we have so many awesome things to share, and especially today, we have a very special guest named Jessica Yarbrough, and we're going to be talking with her in just a moment, and you will love her because she's got such great information and content and ability to help you really take everything to the next level and become the awesome, highly paid person that you deserve to be, no matter what it is that you're doing. And I am excited to share with you next week. I'm going to be talking a lot about what I've been doing this past week, which was at the Hive Entrepreneur Network event. It was so I think there might have been a little bit of a blip there, and hopefully you can hear me now. What I'm going to be doing now is talking about Jessica. So today's topic is how to become highly paid and sought after. And here's some questions for you. Are you ready to become a highly paid and sought after expert in your field? Would you like a never-ending stream of your dream clients lining up to work with you? And do you want to make more money while working fewer hours? My goodness, who wouldn't say yes to all three of those? So today, I'm going to be talking strategy and tactics with Jessica Yarbrough, who specializes in helping professionals rapidly elevate their credibility, launch high-ticket programs, and scale their businesses to six and seven figures. Call in with your questions if you have them, or send them to me at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com if you're ready for massive success and raising the bar to finally have what you've been wanting in your business. Do not miss what we're about to talk about. So be sure to tune in and listen to our conversation today. This is your year. 2020 is going to be an amazing year for so many of you. It's already been for me, and I can't wait to hear all of your stories of what it's doing. So Jessica has quickly developed a reputation of being one of the best business strategists and marketing and sales consultants for entrepreneurs who want to sell high-value products and services. Her background is in international business, and she herself has built multiple companies to 6 and 7 figures. Jessica is a genius, or you might even say brilliant, at showing entrepreneurs how to build an expert platform, rapidly raise their value, and build their credibility online and attract high-paying clients. She travels the world teaching and inspiring entrepreneurs and helping them grow their influence and make the income and impact they desire. So both the money and the impact that you desire. And you can reach her at jessicayarbrough.com. She also offers a 4-part video series designed to take you to $500,000 in a year. So if you're not there yet, you'll definitely want to check that out. So Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hello, Jessica. So
yes, thank you for having me.
I'm not hearing Jessica yet, and I can keep talking a little bit more about what is happening. Okay, so
can you hear me now?
I'm currently having some sound difficulties where I cannot hear Jessica. So Jessica, why don't you tell us what you might have already started telling us and keep going while I call back in.
Okay, sure. Yes, I am a business consultant. I partner with entrepreneurs who are in the service-based industry, so coaches, consultants, educators who really want to monetize their genius and build high value, high ticket programs that they can scale to 7 figures. And if you guys bear with me that are listening into the show, I know there was some sound difficulties and Carla's going to be calling back in any minute, and we can dive into all the juicy questions I know she's going to ask me, and really what that looks like to hone in on what your brilliance is and how to put some structure around who you are and what you offer. Hi, Carla.
So I'm back.
We're on. Yay.
And so, Jessica, I would love to hear from you a little bit more about how you got from A to B. So I always ask people about their career path and their journey that allowed them to do the brilliant work that they're doing now. So if you wouldn't mind walking us very high level, but briefly through your career path that got you to here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my business background is really that I was managing companies. I started very young. I built a startup company in San Diego. I did take a 4-year journey where I stepped away from the business world after nearing burnout at a young age and backpacked around the world, became a yoga teacher, lived in 4 different countries, and thought I'm never going back into the business world. And then I got pregnant with my daughter and realized, wow, you have to actually make money and, take responsibility again. And I didn't want to go back to getting a job. I'd already kind of been through that whole experience, and I knew it wasn't going to fulfill me nor give me the freedom lifestyle I really wanted to have the time with my daughter. So I rolled up my sleeves and I built my business from the ground up. She is now 5 years old. I have a very successful international consulting company, run about 6 events a year, have clients in my mastermind from all over the world. So it's been a wild journey, but here I am.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. So I'm just curious, where all did you live when you were living all over the world?
Well, I actually bought I was in my corporate job, and I went on vacation to Thailand with a friend who was doing business in Asia before, Alibaba emerged out of China or any of these other things, and he was literally having things made in Asia and shipping them to his stores in Europe. And he invited me because he said, you got to go to Thailand. And I went to Thailand and I kind of saw like what he was doing, and it opened my eyes into, wow, just being able to have a more freedom location business. And so I gave my notice, and I actually bought a one-way ticket back to Thailand. It was it's an amazing country. It definitely is a very spiritual country. And I stayed there for about a year. I lived in Bali for a while. I came back to the U.S.
Wow.
And then I lived in Costa Rica for a year. So, and with all of that, I backpacked and traveled all around Asia and Central America. So it was a really fun experience and proof that, listen, you can make money doing whatever you want, wherever you want in the world. If there's a will, there's a way.
Well, that's amazing. And I've actually just come back from an event where that was what everybody was doing and talking about. And so I'm really, really inspired by that approach to life as well. And even what I've been saying all along on Bring Your Brilliance is whatever it is that your dream is, whatever, maybe it's a dream job, maybe it's a dream lifestyle, maybe both. But I think you're also helping us see that there's so much more out there than a lot of people realize. And that's part of what I actually want people to hear on the Bring Your Brilliance show is that there are so many ways you can do what I call work-life integration and figure out what works best for you and your family. So I love that you're also now incorporating that you're helping and working with, providing for your daughter, which
Absolutely.
is another important element.
And I love it. Yeah, that's why I chose it. My commitment was I really wanted to show her the world. I was like, I want to show my daughter the world. I love travel, and so I joke that she's the most well-traveled 5-year-old I know. I mean, she's probably been to more countries than most adults, and that's the beautiful thing. And why so many people come to me is they want that flexibility to travel, but to take their kids and not be limited to 2 weeks vacation. And really, if you have
Yeah.
solid Wi-Fi, you can work from anywhere in the world. You can be on an island in Greece and have a group coaching call. I've done it. And so just like figuring out what it is you want and then making sure whatever business you do create is going to be aligned with that vision.
Yes, 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 absolutely. That flexibility and the freedom. So are you currently still traveling everywhere, or do you work from one main location, or what are you guys doing right now?
Yes, absolutely. Now, I haven't been living around the world anymore since I had her. So our home base is San Diego. I run all of my events and masterminds out of San Diego. I'm lucky because everybody wants to come here, which makes it really easy. And then we take about a trip every quarter somewhere, and we'll just go, to Mexico or Puerto Rico or wherever, and that's kind of our reset time.
Great. So you're taking your trips as true vacations, not that you're working from all of those places at this point.
Yes, only if I'm going somewhere for like a month, then I'm going to have to work. But for 5 days or a week, it's easy. But it's cool because I'm still setting my own schedule. I still can volunteer with my, at my daughter's school and all of that. So it's great.
That's awesome. And yes, definitely. I've done a lot of work in HR, and it's been such a thing about how people can have that flexibility, and that's become actually the number one most requested benefit, even more than healthcare or anything else, because it's so important for people to be able to do what they need to do in their lives and recognizing, what's important. And we have, the time that we have is now. And so that's not waiting until the end of your life or the retirement, 30 years in the future, but right now doing what you need to do for you, for your family, for your business, all of that. So you talked a little bit and maybe expand a little bit more on what you were saying about how, or maybe I missed it, but about how you got to the knowledge that you've been able to now impart on everyone else.
Well, I would say that I think I definitely have I've always had a gift for going into any business and, seeing a way to make it better. It's just naturally what I do. So I do have that kind of business edge, if you will. And then I have studied marketing and have a degree in international business. But, stepping into the entrepreneurial world and into, I'd say more importantly, the online world is a whole other ballgame. That's not being taught in schools, right? So what it required was me rolling up my sleeves and learning. I didn't know how to build a funnel. I didn't know anything about social media marketing or just really everything that I've learned. And so just having that willingness to learn and everything is just everything that you learn just makes you more empowered, more knowledgeable. So part of, I think, the struggle is people get so overwhelmed, and it's just understanding that every single thing that's new is going to feel overwhelming at first. But you just get better and better. It becomes a natural extension of who you are. So a lot of it was just self-learned. And then, of course, I had great mentors along the way, and it helped me go further faster, which is a must really for anyone stepping into this space.
Absolutely. And I love the point you're bringing up about none of us know at the beginning, right? So we have to have the courage to start in the complete unknown and start at suck and start at figuring it out as we go. But by getting out there and doing it, that's when and how you learn. And then I also love your point about having that support and mentorship and people who can help you go so much further faster and accelerate what you might have been able to do or learn on your own.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about, what are some of the favorite clients that you've worked with, or what are some of the stories that you could share about how you've helped people in their businesses?
Well, I feel like every year the stories get bigger and bigger, and I think that's just as I've grown in my business and my capabilities, and I tend to attract more people and I'm able to help them go even further faster. But, one of my best ones I would say is someone like my client James, who came from the corporate world. I think he spent about 3 months on his business and trying to make money, dumped a lot of money into, writing a book and creating a course. And of course, it didn't work out because he didn't have an audience or anything, lots of important things that you need to actually make things like books and courses work. And he called hiring me the Hail Mary pass, because it was either like, this is going to work with Jessica, or I'm going to have to go back into the corporate world. And we set really ambitious goals, and that was to make $500,000 in 1 year, and we were able to do that for him in 10 months. So that was, as a brand new first year consultant / coach, that those are just insane results. And so I think he was one of my best ones. I had another woman come to me that was established, but kind of had, it kind of almost gone backwards, and that happens sometimes. Like, you're used to making a certain amount of money, and then suddenly you're not, and you're in the red. And again, like she set a goal, like I want to be up to $250,000. I made it many years ago, and we were able to do that for her in a year. So regardless of the numbers or whether you're established or not, it's just about realigning your packaging, your pricing, your messaging, like how you're getting leads, that whole foundational piece that keeps a business afloat, and then working towards your goals.
That's fantastic. So what would you say are some of the most important things for people to do, especially if they're like the first person where they were starting in their corporate career, and like, what are the very first things people should do to prepare for the success and moving forward?
Well, definitely you're going to want to get a mentor. Here's what I tell people in the beginning. You don't know when you're in the corporate world. Like, you really don't know. And so it might be easy to start following, whether it's big influencers like Grant Cardone or Gary Vee, things that you're not going to be able to implement because you don't have a massive team, or whether you kind of get stuck in the lifestyle type coaches, and maybe they're teaching the course model or coaching program model. And a lot of times, like, that can work, but for people coming out of the corporate world that might have a high level genius like James did in sales, and like another person that just joined my program did, like, really they understand a level of sophistication with building teams, or I've got people who are operations consultants. They cannot go into the lifestyle coaching model, right? It doesn't align. So one of the most important things you can do is figure out, like, what is your core strengths, and position them in the marketplace to translate those skills right into a high value, high paying client. So for James, for him to go from working in like 7-figure, 8-figure companies, big deals, big teams, right, sophisticated knowledge, for him to then try to market to somebody who's an entry-level coach to fine-tune their sales, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And because he's used to putting on big deals and proposals. And, you know, when you're selling somebody a coaching program that's just starting out, you're not sending them a proposal. So what we had to do was say, hey, where's your skill set? Okay, let's put you in front of 7-figure companies and get you selling big programs that are top dollar, and you can get them big results, and you're going to get paid. That was an immediate shift. So if you're coming from the corporate world, you need to look at what your gifts are and not get sucked into, like, a lot of them may be entry-level or lifestyle coaching programs, because that doesn't make sense for you. Like, you need to take your skill set and align it with who you can actually help, that they're going to get it. They understand what your languaging is. Like, they have that same level of sophistication, and you can show them a way out.
That makes so much sense and seems like such an, well, duh when you say it, but you're right. Like, so many people don't get that, and I love that example. So I want to talk a little more about that and the alignment. Mm-hmm. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back to talk about all of that. So again, my name is Carla Taylor. We are here on the Bring Your Brilliance radio show on Inspired Choices Network. We're talking with Jessica Yarbrough with her amazing way to help people align with their money and their income and their impact that they're wanting to make, and we will be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. I am Carla Taylor. We are here on Inspired Choices Network. And yes, if you have a message and a voice that you want to get out to the world and have considered being a radio show and podcast host, I highly recommend Inspired Choices. They are fantastic and make everything so easy for you. Even if there's technical blips, we get through them and we do it together, and it's really wonderful. So we are here today then talking to Jessica, who helps you take that brilliance to the world and be paid well for it. So just before the break, Jessica, you were explaining that you work with people. The example we had was somebody coming out of corporate America who has this high-level knowledge and expertise that doesn't fit working with like individuals or solopreneurs and that sort of thing. And so you help them align and plug into what makes sense to them for them.
Absolutely.
And so tell me a little bit more about that person. Let's say you've got, and I just want to reiterate for those who might just be coming onto the show, what were you able to help that person do, not focusing on the lifestyle coaching, but you said you mentioned connecting them with companies or different situations where they could do that. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so what we did with James was, instead of kind of trying to push the course, I don't remember what he was selling it for, like $300 course, or even he was struggling to sell some lower ticket packages like $1,500 or $3,000. Instead, we put together some really compelling programs for high-level entrepreneurs, so high six figures or even seven-figure entrepreneurs and companies, where he could go in there and make some massive transformations in a short period of time and command anywhere from, say, $30,000 to $62,000. And so with that, we 10x his prices or more and put together a really irresistible offer that was value-packed and outcome-based, aligned it in front of the right market who got it, who understood, wow, like I see James, he can help us. I want to pay him to solve our problem. Mm-hmm. And he was able to bring them in and start selling those high value programs. So it was a complete life-changing turn of events because in a very short amount of time, he was able to monetize his business in a really big way.
That's great. And what I love about that, like you just gave us a couple different things I want to comment on. The first is that by having much higher ticket clients, it doesn't take that many to get to $1 million versus if you were only doing, like you said, the 300 versus 30,000. Like that's a massive difference and much easier to get to those big figures sooner. And the other thing about that price difference, and I've talked to some other people before about the fact that if you're going into a client who knows they need a much bigger solution, and you say, here's a $300, they know you don't get it either. And you're not going to be what they need by having such a low offering.
They won't take you seriously. And I actually come up with this all the time. If people are low pricing and they're wondering why they're not winning the account, unfortunately, we do associate price with value. It's why people, will pay thousands of dollars for a purse in one store and $100 in another. And so if you come to a company that's doing 7 figures and you tell them you're going to transform their business, you're absolutely right. And it's, even if it's $3,000, they're going to look at you like you don't know what you're talking about. Because it doesn't make sense. It's not congruent. So I help people step into alignment and have programs and packaging and pricing that is congruent with the value that they bring. And then I help them position it and message it in a way that they eliminate anyone who's not their ideal client and are able to bring people in that are.
That is beautiful. I love that. And having that alignment, like you said, and people understanding. So you've got to know your own value to be able to convey it to other people. And when you undervalue yourself, everyone around you is going to, and it's going to feel really off. And then that's why I see so many people struggling in their businesses, because they aren't valuing themselves and their offering enough.
Absolutely. And not just that, but if you have a high level of sophistication or genius in one area and you are trying to market to people who don't get it, even if you sell them at a low rate, it's going to be extremely frustrating. And it's not making the best use of your talent, because you could help somebody solve a much bigger problem, gets it. And that's what we want. We want clients who get it and who give you energy. They don't leave you feeling drained or frustrated, who who see the value in you and have the means to pay for your services, and are also going to take action and implement what you tell them so that they can create incredible results. So you can have those case studies and skyrocket your brand reputation and credibility. All of this ties into one another, and none of that's possible if you have a high level of genius in one area and you're trying to market to the masses or market to people who don't get it.
That is so true. And I know, even I'm thinking as you're talking, when I had my own consulting firm and I started with some smaller, you don't know when you're starting out. You really don't understand a lot of, you have no idea sometimes what pricing is at. And that's another thing. Like how do you, I know a lot of us learn by doing and learn over years, and it takes a long time, but how do you know what to do when you're first starting out?
Right, how to price it. Well, it depends on which market you're going after. So here's an easy thing to remember. It's like, if you want to command high dollars, then you need to work with people who have the means to do it. So you trying to sell a $25,000 program to someone who's making $50,000 a year is not congruent. So it's okay. There's plenty of people who will market to them. In fact, there is a cannibalization of the entry-level market. People who are really vying for the attention and dollars of people who are making $50,000 or $60,000. You don't have to market to them. That is saturated. It's okay. The people are doing price wars, cutting. I've seen coaches go from $10,000 all the way down to $3,000 because they're trying to for their program, because they're trying to compete in this market. Why do that? That's what I tell people. Why do that? Instead, level up. Go after people who have a baseline income of minimum 75, 90K. But really 100, 150, 250, 350, or go right into companies, whether that's small to mid, and market to those people. And when you do, you're going to be able to solve bigger problems. It's important to remember is that if someone comes to me, one of my clients comes to me and is making $350,000, the number one thing they don't have is time. They don't have time to waste. And so if you can save them time and make them cut the frustration, streamline what they do, help them bring in a lot of money, they'll pay you whatever, because time is their most precious resource. And so rather than trying to market people that don't have any money, market people who have money but value time, and you're going to save them a lot of time.
Oh, man, I love that. And you're so right. The more money you have, the less time you have, and they'll pay for anything to get the result that they need because they have the means to pay for it, but they do not have the time and the brain power, or even the brain space, even if it's something they actually know how to do very well, but they just don't have the time to do it. It's still going to benefit them to hire that out versus, trying to split themselves into several pieces as well. Oh my gosh, I love what you're saying. It's so aligned with everything that I've been talking about and doing. And I had to. What I found when I first started is the more I increased my prices, the better I was able to serve the clients that needed it, because they understood. Oh, you do understand. This isn't just a one and done kind of solution either. And I was
Absolutely.
bringing in like leadership training and team building and that sort of thing, and doing a one-day course for $3,000 versus doing a $30,000 to $50,000 program for the organization or more, depending on how many people are there.
Right.
They're like, okay, now we're actually talking to someone who understands what we need.
Yes, and what's awesome is you attract better clients. I mean, I find the more value I build into my program, the higher the price point, the more I can dedicate time and energy into them. It's about quality over quantity, and you keep attracting better and better clients. It's amazing. So you're right, right on your path, Carla.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and who you're attracting, and one of the best things you can do that I've seen, and I'd love to hear your take on this, but one of the things that I've seen is the more you work on yourself and understanding your value and understanding even the alignment of your life and work and what your dreams are and what you need, the more you know exactly who you are and what you can offer and how to do it. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about how you help people or think about that.
Yeah, one of the first things I do, because I have so many amazing people come to me. I mean, I have people come to me who's coming out the corporate world and they're trying to start, from scratch. I have people who've been in business, and at that 150 to 250K mark, and they just can't seem to crack the code to go higher. I had people come at 7 figures who say, Jessica, help us take you to 8 figures. Help take us to 8 figures. In fact, one of my clients who came in, she did almost $5 million in 5 months. But she came in at a much higher, like she already had an established company, right? And so that's important to understand too, is that the more you have and the bigger you are, like the monumental leaps seem to come faster. But one of the first things I do is to really understand what is their brilliance, what is their biggest wins they've had in their life, whether that's in their career, whether it's with clients, because I'm sure you come across this all the time, Carla. I mean, we are blind to the things that we are innately great at. And we downplay our strengths because it's so easy. And so what I found is it doesn't even matter. I mean, literally I'll have clients come to me that have made a company millions of dollars, whether that's as a consultant or employee, or saved them millions of dollars, and yet their prices are so low in comparison to that. And so when I go through the logic, like, tell me about your biggest wins, what are some of the things you have done, and I reflect it back to them, it's very easy for them to see, oh my gosh, you're right. Holy crap. Like, I charged this and they got that? Like, what? And so that's how I appeal to the logical side of things. And so I think deep down people already know there's a lack of congruence, right? And alignment. And so they come to me and I do that. But then they need help with what does that look like? Not only do I need the confidence and the mindset shift from you, which is something I help them with, but they also need, well, how do I do this? So I don't know. I get it. You're right. There's a total lack of alignment. How do I do it? And that's when we really work into a deep dive on their packaging, their messaging, and their positioning.
That's brilliant. Yes, and oh my gosh, I'm just thinking of all of these people that I've been talking and having conversations with, and they're all these brilliant, awesome people with whatever their offering is so good, but they don't get it. Like, they're still not seeing, and these are people who haven't become my clients yet, but I just friends of mine and just colleagues and counterparts of people who are doing so many great things, but yet you're right, they can totally feel that they're not in congruence and they're not in alignment, and they're wondering, why am I feeling so off?
Right. Or why is it such a struggle? I mean, when you sit there and you see people around you that have less experience, probably less talent, and yet they're, and you might even have taken their program's not even that great, and they're making more money than you, that's really frustrating you. So it's about you can continue doing what you're doing and hope to change the results, or you can get the help you need and step up, because, it's all on you. Like, you have the ability to change your life. It's just a matter of moving through the fear, the limiting thoughts, and the self-sabotaging patterns that have kept you playing small, not raising your prices. You have to be bigger than your BS. You have to step up, and you have to build something that is going to create a legacy for you and your family.
Yes, I love that. You have to be bigger than your BS.
That's right.
That's so true. It is so true. And I have so many friends of mine who are business owners and coaches, like I said, that I hear it. They're like, why is that person more successful and I've got all this talent and why am I not?
Right.
And it's part of it is, they get into that comparison and they get into fear, but part of it is that they haven't recognized their own brilliance to know where to go with it. And I'm actually now thinking of all these people that I want to refer to you.
Thank you. Yes, there's lots of work to be done. And you're right. I am making it sound easy, and it's not. It's a personal development journey. Entrepreneurship is the biggest personal development journey outside of motherhood that you can go on. I really believe that. And so there's so many people who are so talented, and they're just there. They're just like, they know they can, and they haven't pushed forward. And it's the ones that have the courage to step into the unknown, not just the unknown of entrepreneurship that many of them are in, but into that, hey, I'm going to make a big leap of faith, and I'm going to trust that it's all going to work out. And I recognize that means I'm going to let go of clients that, aren't in alignment anymore, and I'm going to attract in the ones that are. And that's what it's all about. That's what separates the good from the great, is the people who are just, they're not wasting time. They're not stuck in analysis paralysis. They're going to trust. They're going to take action, and they're going to get massive results, right? They're just going to go again and again, execute.
And that's what happens when you get into full alignment. It becomes easy, and you can, then you know exactly what to do. You know how to move forward. You execute. You're surrounding yourself with that energy. Energy is so big. I mean, it makes all the difference in your own life and enjoyment, but also in raising the collective. I think the more people who are in a higher energy and connect, the higher the energy goes for everyone.
You know what? Absolutely. And I don't lead with my spirituality or my little bit of woo-iness, whatever. But I'm a very spiritual person, but I'm very grounded in reality and practical and driven and strategic. But the energetic component, since you brought it up, is so important that I actually built that into my programs. I actually have a spiritual medium, an energy worker, come and host once a month calls and come to all of my events, not only to help the events to support me with my own energy, but to help people collectively. Because what I've found is the strategy and all of that, the marketing, all of that is great, but if deep down you're continuing to self-sabotage, or if part of you doesn't believe like you're worthy of stepping up, or if you're still operating programs about limitations around money that your parents gave to you, then if you don't have that piece built in, that it's going to be hard to succeed. And so that's why I have her in my programs, is to help people with that piece. That's how important mindset and energetic work is. And I want to share that because it's like people don't talk about it, but every successful entrepreneur works with an energy worker, and they have that as part of their, they understand the value of it to their clients. So energy is huge.
And even if they call that person their mindset coach, it's still about your energy.
It is, absolutely. They go hand in hand. Your energy creates your thoughts, So if you're in a bad place energetically, you're going to have negative thoughts, and vice versa.
So let's come back to that. I have a couple more comments I want to make, and then we're going to keep talking when we come back from our break. And again, my name is Carla Taylor. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. We are talking with Jessica Yarbrough. She's got some amazing awesomeness and solutions, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited to bring so many people to you that I know you can help. So that's fantastic. We are inspired. We are inspired on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Do you struggle to answer what do you do? Because you do many different things? Do you want your future clients to know, like, and trust you? Do you want to make LinkedIn work for you? If you're ready for extreme clarity and confidence, with opportunities flooding your LinkedIn inbox, Carla Taylor's Bring Your Brilliance coaching, masterminds, and workshops give you the exact steps to get it done. Don't have time to do it yourself? Carla's LinkedIn content ghostwriting service is exactly what you need. Schedule your free consultation today at bringyourbrilliance.as.me or go to bringyourbrilliance.net.
This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back to Bring Your Brilliance here on Inspired Choices Network. I'm Carla Taylor, and I am so excited that we are having this conversation about energy and getting paid what you're worth and having the joy in your life that you want and deserve. And I have been doing a ton of this work for myself. Actually, I just came back literally yesterday, I think, from the Hive Entrepreneur Network retreat, which was amazing. There's going to be another one in the end of April, and Hive is such an incredible organization that I am going to actually be sharing a lot more about this on my show next week to help dig into this a little bit more and talk about exactly actually what we started talking about today, which is the energy and the people that you surround yourself and all of the ways that you can start living the life of your dreams. So that's what I'll be talking about on the show next week. I also have some LinkedIn workshops and a Bring Your Brilliance mastermind that will be launching at the end of February. And I would love to talk with you if you are ready to fully align with your brilliance and know what that is and help your team do the same. That's what we're going to be doing in the mastermind. And so I'm excited to work with a very small group. We're keeping it very small so everyone gets some really great one-on-one attention as well. And that will be a 6-week mastermind. So look for some more information about that. Jessica, would you tell us a little bit more about how people can find you and what you are doing in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can definitely find me at jessicayarbrough.com. I know in the show notes we have a link to download my 4-part video series, which is about a 45-minute training on how to get 50 high-paying clients in the next year. So definitely recommend your listeners to check that out. Also, I run a free Facebook group called Coaches Scaling to 6 and 7 Figures, so check that out as well, or find me on YouTube, LinkedIn, or even my personal Facebook page.
Awesome. I'm going to, like I said, be sending lots of people your way. I'm so excited to have you as another resource in my collection of people and resources that I like to talk about. So that's great. And we were just talking about energy, actually, and you mentioned the spiritual component of what you bring in. And I love that. And I know also some people aren't always as open to that, and that's okay too, because like I mentioned that, you know, even in business, when I've been in super duper buttoned up corporate America, we still can talk about energy in terms of just the energy of the people that you're engaging. And I have another organization that I work with that works with corporate culture, and they talk about that, you know, a lot of people say our people are our greatest asset. And they say, no, the energy of your people is your greatest asset, and how you can get them to have more energy and be more productive. So it doesn't have to be like the way spiritual talk about energy, but even in my career happiness program, I talk about career energizers and drainers and things that bring you energy or drain your energy, and just paying attention to your own, you know, fuel of feeling more productive or less productive is another way to talk about that.
Absolutely.
So let's go into a little bit more of, like, I want to hear, like, and you can say more than 3 or less than 3, but what would you say are your top 3 things of what people should do, and then your top 3 things of what they should not do as they're looking at taking their next steps or even starting a brand new business?
Okay, so top 3 things you should do, first and foremost, is focus, right? Distraction is your biggest bottleneck. It's what keeps people stuck. And so when I mean focus, that means focus on the one main thing that you want to be doing and cut out all the other distractions. Okay, you don't need to have a million different offerings or be on every social network or anything like that. It's just not important right now. The other thing I would say would be to definitely find a mentor that is ahead of you and then take action with them and ignore everybody else. That's one of the first things I tell people to do. And whether it's me you hire or not, but if someone hires me, I'm like, you have to shut out the noise and stop listening to 20 different people. So you can follow a big influencer if you want, and then follow someone that you're going to hire, and then shut out the noise, because there are many different paths, but if you try to take every single person's advice, you're just going to end up lost and going around in circles. So those would be 2 things. And then the third one is, obviously, especially if the service-based model, the fastest path is going to be the high ticket. It's not going to be a course or membership site that requires volume, traffic, a following. So, rather than trying to, add in the complexity of landing pages and course creations and membership site creations and all that, like, start with the high ticket. That's going to be where you're going to be able to get massive client results. And then you can back build your courses if you even want to go that route. So that's what I would do.
That's cool.
Let's see. And then what you would not do.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So what I would not do is focus on things that I think new entrepreneurs really get stuck on in the beginning. Like, they need to get their LLC up and they need to get a website and, all these things that are time consuming and don't move the needle forward with generating revenue. So you don't need that. You can be having conversations on LinkedIn and close somebody into a coaching program and generate revenue. So try not to get bogged down in all of that stuff in the beginning. That's not your first priority. Number 2 would be just trying to figure it out all out on your own. I see so many people, they wait too long to actually get help. They try to just kind of turn to YouTube, or maybe they buy a couple courses and they're trying to piecemeal it together instead of really having someone that can lay out a strategy for them. And that's a huge thing, because I've even had people come back to me after a year. I had someone the other day and I said, wait a minute, we talked a year ago. What's changed? And he said, nothing. Only now he was in a worse financial position and unable to hire me. So, and it doesn't even matter if you hire me. If you need help, do not try to figure it out on your own. You won't. You will not figure it out. Like, you need to, success leaves tracks. So find someone and follow them rather than trying to figure it out on your own. And then let's see, the third thing. So we said not trying to figure it out on your own, or focusing on the LLC and that sort of thing. Let's see, the third thing would be just starting out. It depends on how early you are. If you're just considering it, don't even ask your family or friends, because they're going to talk you out of it. So you just, entrepreneurship is kind of a wild card. If you say you're going to go to school and drop $50,000 on education, people are going to applaud you. If you say you're going to start your business, everybody's going to tell you why you can't succeed. So for those people, if you want to start it, just go for it.
Yep.
It'll be a very empowering decision, and you can tell them about it later. If you're already in business and you're still struggling, then I would say the thing you want to avoid is taking on more. More offerings, more complexity, more funnels, none of that is going to move the needle forward. Simplicity and focus move mountains.
Yes. Simple always wins. I love that. Great, yes. Great advice. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So anything else that you want to impart on our listeners? We've got people from all over the world. So is there anything else that you would love to say to the individuals out there listening right now?
Yeah, I think it's just, hold the vision, trust the process, and continue to show up and take action. I feel like for entrepreneurs, half the battle is just showing up. And so that commitment to not just the immediate gains, but like the long-term growth of your company is key. And the commitment comes, what comes in commitment is showing up and connecting and building relationships. And all of it will come if you continue to move forward, but you have to keep going.
Yes, 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 absolutely. Take action, show up, take steps forward. And the thing I've seen is as you take one step, then you will know the next step. You don't have to know all the steps. You just have to know the one to get to the next one. And then simplicity, like you've been saying,
Absolutely.
is so important to keep it so simple. And then keep going, because you are going to have missteps.
Yes.
You are going to have failures. You are going to have the things that deter you. Yes, yes. And even what you said about don't tell people around you that don't get it, because I made that mistake with my business, and I was like in tears because my family wasn't supporting me, and all these people were telling me all the reasons it couldn't work and why it was too scary, and like they were all trying to talk me out of it, and I just finally stopped telling them because it was crushing my dream, and I knew I needed to do it, and maybe couldn't even explain it yet. So
kudos to you for keeping going.
Now I talk about the element of peace. Thank you. It was not easy either, like especially when you don't have the people around you supporting you, and the LMNOP, the like-minded no people is what I call them. Like they will suck the life out of you. Right. Drain all your energy. So Go ahead.
Yeah, they will, and that's why it's important, that you surround yourself and you have like not only a mentor, but get yourself involved, just like you were doing, Carla, in entrepreneurial events and in Facebook groups or what have you, so that you can have that support of people who are on the same journey, because people who aren't entrepreneurs, unfortunately, they just don't get it. And so it will feel lonely and isolating at times, but you'll find your tribe. And as you build your business, you'll become the leader of your own tribe. So it's really, really amazing. And, just continue to get support and surround yourself with people that are going places.
That is so true. Thank you so much, Jessica, for spending this hour with us and helping us understand so much more about, and the way you make it so simple. I love it. Like you're just like, oh yeah, this, and it's like, oh yeah, right. So thank you so much. I so appreciate you and your time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on the show, Carla.
And one more time, how can we reach you, or where can we get your information?
Yeah, so you can find me at jessicayarbrough.com. You can download my 4-part video series, which is in the show notes, on how to get 50 high-paying clients the next year. Or you can find me in my Facebook group, Coaches Scaling to 6 and 7 Figures, or follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, or even my Facebook personal or business page.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, for Bring Your Brilliance, you can go to bringyourbrilliance.net to find out more. If you want to learn about the mastermind or anything else that I've got coming up, please reach out to me either directly at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com, or you can go to find me on LinkedIn, because as you know, I love LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn lover. There's so much that you can do out there and so many ways to connect. And like Jessica just said, you don't have to have all this structure and support and funnels and landing pages. LinkedIn is actually a place where you can use your own page as a landing page, and you can connect with so many amazing people there. So again, this is your reminder to get out there, show up, bring your brilliance, be bold, be brave, be brilliant, and then just be you, be fully you in full alignment, and everything else will come and become absolutely magical. Thank you again for listening, and next week we're going to be talking a lot more about all of that. So
thanks for listening to another episode of Bring Your Brilliance with Carla Taylor. For the latest updates and info on personal branding, please follow and interact with Carla Taylor on LinkedIn. And be sure to visit www.itstimetoBringIt.com. Join Carla Taylor every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, keep